Hello, my name is Lawrence, and I'm the author of the book We Are Who We Are, Who Am I? Let's see the final product and start analyzing it. This is the book that I've created, and it's almost like a mock of the book because professionally, I would have printed it with a hardcover and with pages that would have opened like that. One thing that I would like to criticize is that when I printed the mock paper, the edges of it, when you open it, it should have been in the other part, in this part. But apparently the book and its design was a bit hard to do that for the printer that the school had. So if I had a professional book, I would have, if I had the time, because Ashley House, I went to them and asked them how long and how much the process is going to take. And they said that 3 weeks. And I just finished my book on the 20th of May. I definitely finished it on the 20, no, on the 18th of May, sorry. I finished it on the 18th, and 3 weeks, it would have been too ahead of our deadline. So I've decided to create a mock, sorry. I decided to create a mock for the future book. But yes, I think I would have created a better one. So what you just seen with We Are Who We Are, Who Am I? It was the front cover. Then now it's the contents page. As you can see, the white page is in the actual book. It would have been because of the printing, there are 4 places of the book, of the paper, because if you fold the paper, for example, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4. So it would have been like that, but because of how many pages I created, which was about 41, they couldn't do that, the printer at school, so we had to leave a page white. So that is why. Again, the biography of me, where it says it should have been where the scanning bit was, it should have been inversed. But again, it's just the mock. I did really like how the mock came up. You can see 1, 2, then it goes 3, 4, 5, 6. I do really like how it turned out. The only thing I would like to say about this chapter, it was a really nice chapter to look at and do it, but it was quite hard doing an InDesign. And when I did it first, well, I did the entire bit of substance abuse, the first chapter. And then it was a bit hard because the white and with the color, if you did print it on a normal school one and it was not glossy paper, you would have seen the pixels, which was not professional. But again, in the future, I would like to try and make and boost that and make a better book with that, perhaps. So yeah, here we can see the last page of one of the chapters, the first chapters. Now we have the second chapters, eating disorders. Again, did really like her. I just think if I go a bit back here, one thing that I would like to criticize again is I think I did a mistake by, so for example, it's 12, page 12, and there is page 11, which I think is not really professional. I think I should have done it like that. Now it's too late because the deadline has been, but in the future, I would like to check everything before printing and that. So I think next time I should perhaps, yeah, put them in a vertical, perfectly straight line. Did really like the images, how they turned up. Again, one thing that I would like to criticize again, we've done loads of shooting that day. And then I did the Does the Government Count Their Calories? It was made in our canteen. And I think I haven't done a risk assessment for that one because it was really just like in school when I was like, okay, I should go. Whereas in the future, I would like to do that. So because it was not professional of me not doing a risk assessment for that one particular shot on the first stage. Also, if you would like, I mean, you as an examiner, you're going to judge that part. But where you see all the pages, all the white bit, it was just an expression of what having eating disorders and suffering with eating disorder is like, and how there is a mix of emotions and everything. So that's why it looks a bit like a secondary school, like just writing and everything. That was meant to be like that. It's just eat less, eat more, everything, looking in the mirror and everything. And then here we have one of the third chapters, which I did really like how the four photos turned up. Another thing I do really like that I had an aesthetic awareness. However, if I see now looking at two images edited on the same page, one of them is really for like a vampire color palette, like more darker, and then one with like a more warmer palette, which I think it was quite a mistake. I should have done them both in a color palette that would be good for both of them. So this, I think, I should have improved in the future, make really, really good aesthetic awareness on the colors and color palettes and everything. And now one of the fourth chapters. Yeah, I did really like those as well. And I think they turned out really good. And now one, the domestic abuse chapter, which I think it could have been improved in a way. For example, here, I did add that lightening, but if you look at it, it's not as professional as a professional photographer would do, because that was made in InDesign. I did really like the color that was natural behind the model, but just the lighting that comes up on her face. I think in the future, I should not have done that because it looks a bit professional now looking at the final result. There was a message which I did really like. Those again, really like those. Now end credits and the final one. One thing that I would like to say about this in Coleman is that it just looks a bit weird because now looking at it, you would have seen like you open it that way. But I think in the future I would like make sure to do something way professional that I did there because I think there was a mistake, a hardly mistake. But again, this is a more because if I had the time and the finances, because for example, to print the book was about £111 and it would have been sent to London for 1 week and it would have been a lot of process. I did not have time for that. But in the future, I would like to try to stick to the deadlines very, very close so I could print my work and develop it in a good way. Another thing that I would like to criticize myself is that I could have created a site for this. However, my book's got an Instagram account, but it would have been nice if I did try a Wix site or something new. Yeah, now I'm just gonna share the other, sorry, just a second. Yes, I would like to share my blog because now we are gonna talk about my stated aim and if I did cover that one, if I did cover my stated aim. So part one proposal, when we first had the proposal being handed, I thought about like doing many ideas. I thought about creating a magazine, but then I analyzed how magazine was and if it was a good idea. Again, we had news. I think news I did really like, and I think I would have performed good, not better. But just now looking, I think photography was one of the topics and podcast maybe that I would have performed best in a way. The justification, nothing changed from that. Growing up, I remember like it was the concept of the book, as you can see now, is to educate younger generation and show them what mental health it is like and how we have to learn and accept ourselves suffering with mental health. So this was pretty much the message. And yes, I did get that, and I did that. For example, in section one, rational proposal, the magazine, as I said, the magazine newspaper was one of my favorite units. One thing that I would like to say, so for example, in the magazine, I said that it was quite hard working within design. I didn't realize that on the end of the photojournalism project, we would have to edit our work, and we had to decide between there was one software in PowerPoint that I think some of my colleagues did use. I can't remember what it was called, or InDesign. And then I said to myself, Lawrence, if you would like to perform better and do something more professional, you should try InDesign. So I had, when I did my research, I had a very good in-depth look at what InDesign is, how to lay out. I think one of the mistakes I did is that I did it on landscape, but I do really like it. I'm quite proud of that, but I think in the future, if I was to make another book, I would have created it in a portraiture mood and yeah, creative way, professional. Yeah, section one, project on my idea is to create a photography book. I will show issues that people can learn from. I've done that and understand the people with this mental health issues such as eating disorders, domestic abuse, depression, personality disorders, and substance abuse. The first the first thing that was I thought of doing, it was like 10 mental health issues is, but then me and my lecturers, I think I said that and I evaluated that, we both, this Impact My Production Journal, we both decided that doing 10, some of them were similar, and then I think I wouldn't performed as well as I did now, because it would have been way harder. Even 5, it was really hard. But I think in the future, I would like to still just to one particular object and subject, sorry, and I would have developed it more in depth. I think this is a really good lesson that I've learned. Again, I have just, I think for domestic abuse, no, for depression is the only clip that I have no filmed a clip in the with the Panasonic HDC as the 90 full HD camera recorder. But I think otherwise I had record all clips with me talking and one of the models talking about that. Now, section 3 evaluation. Right now, I'm evaluating my work in that way. Here you can see the production schedule, which has changed slightly for part 4. Yes, you can see shooting days again were, in a way, you're going to see in part 4 that they change slightly. These are like the sources. Let's see if I change something. Yes, I think everything is still there. Presentation, and it was my presentation. Things that were done and had been changed. So for example, I just said the 10 ideas. Depression changed because my first idea was to create depression in the studio with lights, professional lights, and create almost like an aesthetic, another word in a way. So you would have gone to Mars. But I think by using a green screen, it's not really professional. It is professional, but it's not like a nice aesthetic awareness, because I wanted everything to be natural. And the people who would read the book will go and read it and be like, oh, I feel myself there. I can see myself there. Whereas some people could not see their self in Mars, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I think by doing that, I'm quite pleased that I've done that. And then it changed. I've done depression by the sea, one of the parts of our Marsh Bart in Exeter, and one was done exactly on my street that I live in. For example, eating disorders again has changed. I thought about creating something really dramatic. That was my first idea, like going and showing how Diana bulimia problem has begun and everything. But then when I did ethical and legal and ethical research, I found out that that would be quite hard for the people watching it who suffer with those issues is, and it would have been really hard for them to look at and just like concentrate, and will make them it would be quite explicit, and by law you are allowed just to express your mental health issues is by abstract views. Now going into concept of I think the target audience. Another thing that changed about the target audience. Sorry, because I just jumped, but I remember target audience when I first did the pitch. It was meant to be the age group of from like 12, no, from 13 till late 20s. So that was my first thought. I thought it would be great. But then I've realized that two of my models were age 38 and 40. So I've changed the age, the target audience for the first part. So the first part is almost for the younger generation and the parents to read because they could learn something and help their kids, or the kids helping the students, family, friends, sisters, brothers. And then the last page would be something that people who really struggle with depression is a bigger age group. As I did quantitative and qualitative research, I've learned that depression is a mental health illnesses that a lot of people struggle with. So for example, yeah, those were for like an old elderly group, a bit older group in a way. um Final product final, we just seen it. What I think I've learned a lesson, and I think I should perform next time better, is InDesign did really like about printing. When I went to the printing room at college, they said I should have left a little wide gap, which I did beforehand, but I didn't like the aesthetic awareness that would come up, because if I did leave that gap, it would have been a slightly wide gap on the edge when you open the book. So it would have been as nice as I thought it would be. Final Cut Pro, I think my editing throughout the year, for example, if I did look from New Year's till now, we can see that we have a change and a more professional editing. I think in the future, I should do a way professional one and I should boost myself. So that's why I'm thinking on the next year to move away from projects that are written and go for something more challenging filming wise. Research, I think I've done a good amount of research. There's always place for better, but I think the amount that we had to hang in the research was quite tight, and I was thinking about future shots and everything. So I had time for the research, but I think it could have been more developed. For example, for legal and ethical was really hard. And another thing that I would like to add about research, backing up my research, is that for legal and ethical, I had a friend of mine who is doing law at Exeter College, year 2. So we had a chat with him and he asked the teacher and then he did some research about it. But if so, there was a big lack of research on that. So I couldn't back up what I'm allowed. So I went to Google Scholar, which was really helpful to find what I should have been done. Skills learn skills learned, there were many. Photography wise, how to edit, I think Photoshop helped me and boost me a lot, because when I first did it for magazine, I didn't do it because I was scared and I didn't know much about it. So now looking at the skills that I learned throughout the year on Photoshop, they were literally having a progress. For example, I just did no lighting. For example, this time I just cropped pictures. I just played more around and did loads of research in Photoshop on YouTube, more of a qualitative research looking at that. I think presentations, we had to do a presentation for target audience readership for magazine. I wasn't really confident back then. For example, I would have been like, I've done that, blah, blah, blah. Yes. So I think I could have performed way better at the presentation. But now, because I just want to go back to the research, because this was really useful. I've done some research for mental health, which was really useful, learned about the mental health issues. Then personality disorders went on each gap. For example, personality disorders, substance abuse research. So I did some research about every genre each chapter that would cover: law and legal and ethical, domestic abuse, eating disorders, And yeah, legal and ethical. Yeah, this was my front cover inspiration, photography. Because now looking at the front cover and now looking at the final thing, I think this clip on YouTube helped me really much because I was really interested about how I could create my own font for the front cover, not having a font that other people would use. I wanted my book to be as unique as possible. Here again, we can see how much research I've done, composition, things I learned again. This was previously from the photography unit, but if I'm being honest, when I first did my photography project on the first part, it was a bit weaker, not in a lot of symmetry, rule of thirds, whereas now I think I had a better performance in that. Now here I was choosing the cameras, which was quite nice because I've heard the Canon 500D for portraiture photography. That was really good. Yeah. Now looking at my final product and my photographer's influences, because this was a part that was really useful. For example, here in the photography influences, sorry, just a second. Here in the photography influences, we can see how my work does express the darker aesthetic and how this inspired me. For example, he has mostly done in a portraiture mood, on a viewpoint, mostly on a landscape form, which I got really inspired using the spotlight, for example, here. Yeah, here, for example, it was quite interesting how he did that. And I did that as well with personality disorders. Here again, his work, which was really a really good and inspiring artwork. Now we have Dora Maar, who helped me a lot and boost me that confidence of like creating a weirdness aesthetic that you're almost going to feel a bit uncomfortable, and also being dragged to the story and being there and focusing on the story. So she helped me a lot, and I think my work could be seen. And we have Edward Honker, which helped me a lot for depression, personality disorders, and inspired me really nicely for using black and white. This is the front cover of one of the pages. This was really inspiring. I just did it on a front cover, on a landscape form, which helped me a lot again. And then, yeah, primary research was really useful, but I'm not going to go, target audience, really important. This is like the target audience, psychographics and everything. Yes, and the age group, yeah, for example, 18 years old before creating the target audience and everything. So backing up and seeing the research I've done, I am proud of it with like legal here and legal and ethical. I'm proud of my research. I think there is always place for better. And now here is my evaluation for research. Thank you so much. Now looking at the pitch, sorry, just a second. Like for the pitch, I think the work and the amount, as you can see, it was really, really good. Like people that inspired me, it helped me a lot doing the pitch. I think was really, really useful when I've learned a better an understanding of what my book should look like and like sketches and everything. Now I just want to focus on this. So yes, if you can see age, as I said, mainly open, but mainly, but also open for people age who would like to learn and see what the people who suffer go through. Here, buying habits. So yeah, for the page again, I did, in my opinion, there you can see a very good turning point and develop of the book. So really happy about that. Here we have part 4, really important part where I was creating the book and then thinking about aesthetic awareness and thinking about aesthetic awareness and what, because I said aesthetic awareness, what I mean by that is when you would look at the book, one chapter is going to be the color and everything aesthetic will draw on you and your eyes will be pleased to see that, like seeing the colors and then changing to another color palette. The color palettes were quite a mix because mental illnesses are a mix. And yeah, here I was like writing what I should do and then the bits that I should go with. Yes, as you can see. Risk assessments, those were really useful because I learned how to create them, like test shorts, for example. Yes, for example, you can see I've annotated them, why it was useful. And a problem that I overcome with this specific short, with this specific shoot, sorry about my English, it just gets a bit, because I'm a bit, yeah. So, for example, here in this moment about the shoot that we went to Cornwall, it was a sunny day. 2 weeks before we planned it, it showed that it was going to be a cloudy day, which we were looking for because we wanted to see a darker message. So we've done a shoot and we spent an hour a day, a fully day, losing nearly time by doing that shoot. It did turn out good. I think it would have been better if we perhaps went to, yeah, to another place in another day. Yeah, you can see here again, did those for biography. Here I was creating the mushrooms and like the sketch of the mushroom and how I've created it. The props, because the budgets were, the financials and the budgets were quite low, because you can be creative even without budgets. But I just think that some places could have been better if I had a bigger budget. For example, McDonald's, I could have used more lighting, more proper lighting that was quite expensive and the college did not have it. And I was looking to rent it, but it was quite hard to find. Sorry, just a second. I don't know what happened. Yeah, sorry. Just technology gets sometimes a bit harder. There you are. So yeah, sketches. I think this part, it was quite a really good part because I've learned what my book should be like. Here are the front covers, biography and end credits, set shorts. Again, this was like the progress of making it. You can see how I was editing and design. Those, for example, those down, you're just looking, this was the first one that I did. I had to redo them 2 days before the handing day on the 18th because it was not nice if you presented it. So for example, if you did open the book, for example, on the page, let me show you. So if you had a book like that, this would be the image that you would have seen, and then it would have had like a wide gap. And I did not like that because I wanted something that will express a lot of powerful meaning and how powerful, yeah, set shots again. Really pleased with editing, showed editing progress. I'm really happy about those. For domestic abuse, we had I think three times that we had to do this shoot. So we had one that we went to Cornwall. It was a failed, but I'm happy that that happened because I've learned a lesson about waking up in the morning, seeing how the weather is, checking more, being more into the subject because I was a bit stressed and that should never happened. And I should have been a bit more organized. Organized next time is the key to success in a way. So I think next time I should be way organized. However, the shoots and everything were planned about 2 weeks after the proposal was handed. So I think that was quite an impressive time of doing, again, editing progress, and the final project you've just seen at the beginning. Yes, we had some problems with the COVID problems. I'm just gonna go to the evaluation now. But now, just talking about COVID and everything, we had some problems. So, for example, one of my models had COVID about, so we were meant to shoot the 27 personality disorders that was shoot, and then we were meant to finish the second part, depression. And one of the models had COVID. He was tested positive 20 minutes before he was meant to be in my shoot. So we had to rearrange something or have another idea. And that is when my idea about, like I just said, about going outside was done. Again, with eating disorders, the studio was fully booked, and then we decided to go to a location that we could perhaps do. Now I'm going to show you the feedback from the class, and I'm going to speak about my opinion about what they said and how would I change that. So they said that the good piece was that good detailed presentation. I think my presentation was good. However, it would have been way nicer if I had the time, because I did it a night before, which I think was really unprofessional. Yeah, I think it was really unprofessional what I did about the presentation. It could have been a better presentation, but yeah. Another thing, very heavy topic, put trigger warning. About the trigger warning, the books, I've done research about that. You have to put trigger warning if someone is age 12 and less than 12, whereas this book, if you would buy it, for example, in shops or anywhere, it would have been for that age gap. So they can buy it, and you cannot be a 12 person. So legally, you would have to show an idea before getting the book, because it's an age that is only allowed to pick the book. Thank you so much for whoever did write that. Another person said that really good original intention and explained each topic, detail how you overcome the issues is. I'm going to speak about the issues in a minute. Good explanation on each topic, really good photos explained. Thank you. Add warning if you're light of the QR code. Yes, I think I did really focus on doing something professional, but then I think I would have done way professional. So I think some bits of research, for example, here, I could have done research on using flashing lights, big movement, because some people would have been affected. But about this, we were 1 week away from the deadline, the 20th, and I was filming the clips, and we just had a random idea to create those. So it was way ahead of the research, but this is not an excuse. I could have done that. But thank you again. Good photography, well presented. Thank you. Again, same thing. I said that. This was quite a nice view from Lola, because she just put her name. She said that my work was like similar to Billie Eilish's first album, when we fall asleep, where do we go? Which was a really good album. I didn't get inspired by that, but thank you so much for finding that I would have. I really like the idea of wanting to get a story with images, not words. Yes, I tried to do that. I just put that in a clip. That's enough if you would like to do that. But also the pages, if when you will see them, they could explain a story. Really clear, really loved, respected boundaries, loved how raw images were. Did them, but I tried to keep them as raw. 25 and 26 were her favorites. Thank you so much. On the video, trigger warning, flashing lights. I should have done that again as well. Good front cover, very formal work, professional, good at presenting. Thank you so much. Punctuation, vocabulary, warning for videos. Again, punctuation and vocabulary. To be honest, I'm trying my best. I think I'm not as professional. Speaking English is not my second language. It's not my first language, it's my second. I think in the future, I'm trying my best to get my English better. But yes, thank you so much. And I hope, I'm going to try to make a better speech. But however, my English was checked with Grammarly, Word, and other teachers before posting that. So yeah. I think if you did read the book, you would have seen that it was grammatically correct. Again, oh, here we have another thing about organizing. Yes, thank you so much. Very a word, great message conveyed fairly well. For creativity taken photography. Thank you. Possibly change the front color on the photography since it's difficult to see. Yes, I think I should have added more darker color, but I wanted to go for almost like you have to concentrate on the book to see that. Also, my signatures and everything were done in a way so you have to focus really well on that. A book would be more professional. Again, I said that problem beforehand. Printing the book, thank you so much. Being more on top of the printing. So this, yeah, this is again one thing that I said about using Wix or other sites. Put trigger warning, disclaimer, I could have done that, but I haven't, and I'm really sorry about that. I would have done that in the future if I did. Print it as you suggested. Again, I said that. Now I'm just gonna read the feedback that we had from one of our teachers, James. I just have it here on the paper so I can see it way better. So observations of PPT presentation and verbal delivery, strong opinion, image very confident and clearly communicated, clear idea of ideas and strong research, engaged the audience well. Thank you. I was a bit nervous, if I'm being honest, when I did that. So I think in the future, I should try to speak more and try more new things about this. Proper use of skills, consistent use of theme and how style, consistent throughout. Images are powerful and even referred. The law around what images are allowed to be shown. Effective analysis of obstacles and how he overcome them. The intentions were good, although some explained could have been expanded on. I think again, the presentation is about, it was about 10 minutes, and if I had more time, or maybe if I just stick to more presenting, not presenting the entire book, I would have done that better. Yes, really good. I'm proud of what he said. Such an honest reflection on own skills and understanding his limitations. So, for example, my limitation now speaking, because that was a good thing to cover, I think my intentions were pretty good. The only thing that I think it would have been way better. Sorry, I just wanted to show the book again. Sorry, just had a problem. Yeah, back again. So I think it would have been way better if I had a bigger budget and if I did know things that were meant to be done beforehand. It was my first year. For first year, it's quite a good amount of work. Next year, I'm trying to aim for something more organized, more professional, more skilled, and something that will engage more people and will make more awareness. This was my intention from the beginning, as I said, is to make people learn new things and then being happy about how we've got this and how it will change over time. So yes, I think my job as a journalist, as a beginner journalist, is to make people see the good, the bad, and the ugly, and see how mental health is, but not like the ugly of the mental health. No, the ugly I meant politicians and stuff like that. So it's my role as a journalist to show that. So yeah, I think it would, my Photoshop skills were not as professional. In design, maybe it was not the strongest. My work was good. It was not the strongest. I think if I had done it, it would have been something way professional, way better. But yes, I'm proud of the work I've done. Budget wise, and if I had like an unlimited budget, whereas financially budget, I think I would have used more props that were more useful. For example, the college had, and really good, they had some cameras and they were 2010, 2009, and I did research about them. They were good, but some of them, like battery wise, it would have just be an hour. And then I had shoots where I should have taken two batteries with me, charging my batteries wherever. For example, in McDonald's, when we did the eating disorders, I had to change to charge the batteries. Once I forgot them, went to the shoot with half of the batteries, 30 minutes, did a really quick shoot. It went all right, but it didn't went professional. For example, the one on depression was done with the battery about 20% in 10 minutes. Yeah, in 10 minutes it was done, but I do really like how it came up. Yeah, budgets, I would have used way important dresses. Some of the dresses were really nice, but for example, for the wedding bit, I would have get like a professional, not professional, wedding actually wedding dress. Makeup artist, if I had a makeup artist again, it would have been way better because we did use makeup. For example, for Alice in Wonderland, I could have used more and I could have tried, but the time was again tight. So I could have done the exactly makeup that they did when they filmed Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, I think bits. I'm proud. I'm really proud of the book. Don't get me wrong, but I just think now, looking at the final project, there are bits where I could have performed way better. That's why I'm thinking it's a good work, but there is always place for better. Larger unlimited budgets, again, book. I would have printed way more books, not just this. This was about £3.50. Could have done a better book if I had the time. But yeah, this is it. This is the work that I'm hanging out. Obstacles, battery charger. I said that, yeah, when we should have started to rain, our equipment had a waterproof jacket and umbrella. We got an umbrella and we shoot it on rain. Depression by the ocean was shoot in rain with with the camera being protected. The model was a bit, it was raining, so he was like, should we continue? And I was like, what do you feel? And then he said, let's continue so we can get that effect. So we did that. Cold water, again, I've spoken about that. Model possibility, I would have got more models and I would like to get more models, but loads of them were a bit scared and a bit aware of the subject. So they were, okay, we've got that and it's a really good work, really interesting, but I just think they would have been better if we had more models, more professional models, such as like they didn't know how to progress with them, with the models. Thank so much for them. Some of them were quite hard because they asked me how to pose, and I was like that and that, and it was just like moments of us deciding if they did pose right or not. MacBook liquid damage. Oh my god, this was the worst part. So we were doing research. I think we were done with research, and then we started the pitch. As we started the pitch, everyone was nearly done with it. It was Tuesday, Thursday, we were meant to present. I was halfway off done with the pitch, which I think again was not professional. I should have been done it way quicker. My MacBook had a water liquid damage. 48 hours it didn't work, so had to go. Is that we live in Exeter? We are in Exeter College, the CC1 building, and then I had to go to another one, which is the Tower one, because it was open till 7 p.m. because I did not have any computers or anything to back up that, and doing on a phone it would have not be professional. So I think, yeah, next time I should really just, yeah. So I think that was quite a hard way, and I've learned that doing now, have a backup plan. And yeah, and I said I was after school, but I think I did manage to show it in the right time. Problem with InDesign, the entire work got deleted by accident by me, it was my fault. And I think that was about, let's say, it was like about 2 weeks beforehand. I've done some of them and some of them got deleted. I think it was the eating disorder. No, it was, yeah, the domestic abuse one was deleted by accident, but I had to redo it. It was fine. And then now, as the end of this, I just want to say that I'm really proud of the book. As I said, I just think that it would have been done in a way professional. I would have done it in a way professional thing, but I just think in the future I should perhaps do that. So yeah, I'm proud of my work. Thank you so much. This was Lawrence, and I hope in the future my work will be more professional than it was now. Thank you so much.